My becomes minor.
Okay, turn around. Starting with palpations for shoulder injuries on the right side. So to start, we're gonna find the clavicle and then the sternal end of the clavicle, which is the part that kind of pops out right here. And then if you find both of them on both sides and go in between, that is the mandibrium, and that is the first part of the axial skeleton that your shoulder and your entire upper extremity connects to.
Yeah.
Next up, we have the sternoclavicular joint, which is the part that pops out that we were just palpating. And that is the sternal end of the clavicle, and that is the joint that connects the entire upper extremity to your body. So that's the only bony part that actually connects all of this to your body. If you follow the clavicle out to the where it meets the other bony part, that is the AC joint. AC joint, the acromioclavicular joint. And this just kind of helps with being able to move the scapula and have full shoulder rotation. Then if you come out to that part that it connects to, that is the acromion process, which is actually the first part of your scapula. And the acromion process is an attachment point for muscles like the deltoid and the trapezius, which are big muscles for your shoulder, because deltoids are right here, trapezius on the back. Then this part can be kind of tender. It's the coracoid process.
Oh, that's tender.
Coracoid process is deep in your shoulder, and it's the muscle attachment spot for your muscles, like your pectoralis minor, which you are suspecting is injured in the violinist. And then
My name's Jihei.
Also for muscles like the biceps brachii with just a short head though, and what's the other one? The coracobrachialis. Thank you. On the back of the scapula, you have the lateral border. So if you put your arm behind your back. Thank you. You can find the inferior angle and then just follow it out to the lateral side. And that right here is the lateral border of the scapula, which is an attachment point for muscles teres major and minor. Yeah. And then the inferior angle, which is it's kind of the most prominent sometimes. There you go. The part that pops out the most, that's the inferior angle of the scapula. It's good for finding out scapular positioning. So if you want to move his arm, that's an easy part of the scapula to trace. And then the medial border of the scapula, it's the part closest to the spine, and it kind of just runs along in here. And that is important for attachments like the rhomboids and serratus anterior. And then lastly, you have the spinous scapula. Put your arm relaxed. Thank you. Spinous scapula, which is right along here, and it divides your scapula into superior and inferior portions, and you can easily find the superior spinatus muscle and the inferior spinatus muscle.
The first scapular movement is going to be scapular elevation, and so a good example of that is shrugging the shoulders. So you can actually see the scapula moving superiorly, and the importance of this is to keep the glenoid fossa in line with the humeral head to prevent any dislocation or injury. And the main muscles allowing for this are the levator scapulae and upper trapezius. The next scapular movement is depression, and a good example of this is doing dips. You can actually see the scapula is moving inferiorly, which is depression, and the main muscles that allow for this movement are going to be lower trapezius and pec minor. And same thing, it's going to keep the humeral head inside the glenoid fossa when doing these movements. Behind her. The next scapular movement is going to be protraction, and a good example of this is the push-up phase of a push-up. So the scapula is moving anteriorly and laterally around the rib cage, and the main muscle that's being used for this is the serratus anterior. This is allowing for any push movement and allowing the humeral head to stay inside the glenoid fossa. The next scapular movement is retraction. You can see this by doing a pulling exercise or rowing and squeezing the shoulder blades together. The main movements the main muscles doing this movement are going to be the middle traps and the rhomboids. And this allows for the glenoid fossa to stay, or the humeral head to stay in the glenoid fossa during pulling movements. The next scapular movement is upward rotation, and this can be seen with abduction of the arm. To do this, the inferior angle of the scapula is moving superiorly and laterally away from the body. The muscles being used are upward and lower trapezius, as well as the serratus anterior. The upward rotation of the scapula allows the arm to fully move overhead without preventing any dislocation or injury. Next scapular movement is downward rotation, which can be seen from using adduction of the arm. The scapula is going to be, the inferior edge of the scapula is going to be moving inferiorly and medially towards the middle of the body. The muscles being used are the rhomboids and the pectoralis minor muscles, and this is going to tilt the glenoid fossa down as the arm moves down to prevent any dislocation or injury.
To alleviate GA's pain, we need to devise a therapeutic plan. First, we need a strengthening component. So this exercise is called the prone wise. Now, he's gonna start laying down, laying flat on the floor or on a bench, and he's gonna lift up his arms, like raise them overhead with his thumbs pointing up, stretching them, and then with his scapula, he's gonna retract. He's gonna pull them downward and then back. So yeah, hold it for 2 to 3 seconds, and then repeat that for like 2 to 3 sets of 10 to 12 repetitions. This movement will help to strengthen the lower trapezius, which directly opposes the pec minor's forward tilt.
Okay, for this exercise, we're gonna be turning around, we're gonna be getting our hands, we're gonna be lacing it behind our back, and then if you want, you can lift the foot too if you wanna be a little pizzazz to it, but you don't have to. And then we're straightening behind our back, flexing, pushing the chest out, and then we rotate out, and this helps stretch the
Pectoralis major, anterior deltoid, coracobrachialis, bicep brachii.
Okay, we're gonna go help GA. So let's get started.
So for this exercise, we're going to be using a lacrosse ball across your chest, and you can put it on the point that's tender. For me, Jihei, it's right here on my shoulder. And then what we're going to do is we're going to stand against the wall and we're going to rotate it, because that's going to alleviate and that's going to rub against that tender spot. So we're basically massaging it. Go Jihei.
My name's Jihei, and my dementia and my shoulder pain have been cured.
What's her name? Jihei can use this.
Insane. And first, we need a strengthening component. Sorry.